Hi guys. My mum used to say, show me your company and I'll tell you who you are. And what she meant by that was that the people that you knocked around with would often rub off on you, and you might be in jeopardy of becoming like them. She was a firm believer that if you put yourself around, unhappy people or mean people, that you might become that. And I never thought about that. She used to always say it to me if something was happening or someone had fallen in with a bad crowd. She'd say, show me your company and I'll tell you who you are. And it's not till now that it's actually quite profound. Now, I make no bones about the fact that I do struggle if I put myself around negative people, because I'm a bit of a sponge. And I do have trouble with setting boundaries, something that I'm working on. But it sort of made me think about my conversation, what I've always said about talking about Matilda. So, this is going to be a really, really hard one for me. So I'm going to record it in probably many, many bits. Not because I'm scared to talk about it, but because I'm going to find it hard to put into words. So at the beginning, so when I first went for therapy in October 2023, my therapist talked about my inner child. She said that I had an inner child, and I worked on that, on why, who my inner child was. And in essence, that's the little girl in me that I have always been, but throughout life have stopped becoming for fear of, rejection. I stopped being little Janine and started, essentially my life was a play, because I turned myself into someone else, because when I was little Janine, she wasn't good enough. She didn't fit the brief, shall we say, as a child, for one reason or another. So I stopped being that person, and I created a world where I thought I had to be someone else in order to fit in. So I, in therapy, said to my therapist, I feel like my life's a play. And sometimes, even today, to a certain extent, I still do. Do I still conform and fall back into old ways? Do I stop thinking about, like now when I'm stuttering, I'm thinking, oh, should I say that, should I say that, should I say that? That person might not like me, they might come at me, they might be critical. So I turn myself into someone else, essentially, in order to fit in. And that's how I ended up unhappy. So little Janine was always in there, and she was the happy-go-lucky girl, the one who had dreams and aspirations, the one who didn't have any flaws. So I often talk about Matilda, as you know. Now, I didn't name Matilda until a while ago. And certainly in therapy, I didn't think about Matilda. I didn't think about me inner critic. I was working on little Janine, on giving her love and reassurance and telling her it's okay. Now, we're in May 2025 now, so we're talking October, November? We're talking 5, 6, 7, 8, 20 months since I went into therapy. And I know for the rest of my life, I will be on a journey. But I know my biggest bugbear is my inner critic, which I named Matilda. Now, did Matilda start off like that? No, she didn't. Matilda came when I was a little girl, and she came to protect me, and she was my protector, so she stopped me from speaking up in class or, doing anything that might draw attention to myself. She was the one that said, no, Janine, be quiet, be as quiet as you can, and then no one will notice you. Now, I'm not saying I had a crap childhood. We probably all got crosses to bear. Do you know what I mean? But I had my fair run of the mill when it came down to bullying. And I was a kid of the 70s, and I'm not going to go into the whys and wherefores, but Matilda taught me to become very, very small and not speak up. And if I did speak up and someone challenged it, to then get very upset and cry. And then eventually just to become devoid of any emotion as my life went on. I didn't learn about how to heal in this because it wasn't my time in life. It was only in October 2023 when I had another breakdown that I was advised in an occupational health report that I might have post-traumatic stress disorder. and advised that I needed intense therapy and not counselling. And that's where the story begins. So this isn't about me anyway, do you know what I mean? This is about, hopefully, I always think, if I can, resonate something I say with one person and give them a little bit of help along the way, then that's a good feeling for me. And we all like to help people, don't we? And regardless of what I've done in life or how horrible I've been in my illness, because I know there's been times when I've been horrible, I know there is, and then I've started crying. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't regulate my emotions, but if I can help one person along the way understand why we work the way we do, if we've had some trauma in our lives, whether it be young or whether it be old, then that's a good thing for me. So Matilda was created to protect me, to keep me quiet, and just so that she taught me to be cautious, but it backfired because in life I was cautious about everything, and because I was in such a tight grip on myself and overthinking constantly, Matilda became critical. Now, did she become critical because, as my mum said, show me your company and I'll tell you who you are? I don't know, but she did. And she became quite where she was, everyone was against me. That person was talking about me and people were laughing at me, and I really, really was unhappy with myself, but it just, she turned into a monster. She did. Now, don't get me wrong. I wasn't going out fighting with people or things like that. And, the 9 times out of 10 of people who have met in my life have always told me that I'm nice. But I know I've upset people along the way. I know I have. I know I've done things wrong. But what she did was she kept me in such a tight vice of control that I couldn't make any choices without Matilda's critical words. Like if I smiled at someone and they didn't smile back, it'd be like, oh, they don't like you. And in my mind's eye, sometimes it was like she'd just take over with negative thoughts. And coming from someone who, little Janine, is trying to be a positive person, I had this constant conflict. Oh, it was terrible. So in my therapy, I learned that, I needed to love and nurture little Janine. And, when she had these feelings of doubt, and as I say, at that time, I didn't know that was Matilda, that I should reassure her. So that's what I was doing. I was doing that and I was doing that, but I couldn't get rid of this inner critic, this Matilda. And I named her then. I thought, she's a critic. That's it. And I can remember saying to my friend Kirsten, she's got a name, Matilda. And every time she piped up, I was telling her to shut up, saying, shut up, Matilda, just shut up. And then through my Untold app, which I always plug, I learned that that's what it's about. So the 3 now, if you're watching this and you'll know. And if you're watching this and you think, what the hell is she on about? Then this isn't for you. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a hard, I'm not, there you see, there's Matilda again going, don't say that, Janine, don't say that, you'll get yourself in trouble. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, because that's what little Janine was told, don't do that, don't do this, don't do the other, you'll get yourself in trouble, But I'm going to be brave and I'm going to say that, if you know what I'm talking about, then you'll know. And if you don't, then that's absolutely fine, But, so what I've learned is that I have to be kind to Matilda, because I have to remember first and foremost that she came to protect me in a world where I needed protection. Now, it might have started when I was a little girl. I don't know the timeline, and I don't often think about my past anymore in that vein. But what I do know is that I am having to work on Matilda. And what I do know is I've got 3 parts to my mind that are actively thinking with thoughts. There's little Janine, the kind, little kind, generous Janine, who had, she was fresh, she was new, she had no sides to her. She was a little person in a world where she didn't know about fear or guilt or challenges, any of them things. And then I've got Matilda, who came along to protect little Janine, but along the way has become very, very critical and has also always become like a demon in my head. Now, I'm not saying I'm possessed. I'm not saying that at all. And then there's me, Janine, the one who sits in the middle, going, right, okay, which way are we gonna look at this? And you know what, guys, I'm not gonna lie, this journey sometimes is exhausting, and I wake up some days and I think, can I do this today? But when I look at where I was in October 2023 to where I am now, I know it's all been worth it. 110% worth it. October 2023, you all know, December 2023, I decided to kick drinking wine, because I knew I had an emotional dependence on it, and I knew that when I faced an issue, I had a glass of wine instead of talking about it. Now here we are, May 2025, and I know I'll be on this journey for the rest of my life. I know I will. But what I do know is that by understanding myself and getting to know myself has helped me no end. Now, Matilda, she is the one who, we can't stop thoughts. Thoughts are in our head running every day. But what I do know and what I've learned is that I have to nurture Matilda now. Because I still want her there to protect me. Of course, I need Matilda to protect me. But what I don't want her to do is hold me back in being brave. Do you know what I mean? Like the other day when, like me coming on this camera now. Do you know what I mean? Matilda was screaming the first one I done of these. You can't do that. You're bringing attention to yourself. People will laugh at you. They'll skit at you. They'll call you names. And I said, Matilda, it's all right. It doesn't matter. I'm the grown-up now. I'll look after us. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's it in a nutshell. So from little Janine, I was in the world, happy-go-lucky, faced trials and tribulations, probably some more than others. That was the situation at the time. Matilda came in as the person, the protector, to protect me. And then as life went on, I got more and more poorly mentally, Janine, the one I am now. And Matilda got more critical and more protective. And little Janine didn't stand a chance because she was terrified in the corner. Not only did she have Matilda to deal with, she had big Janine as well. So the journey is that I've nurtured little Janine and I've hugged her and I've kissed her and I've brought her back to life and said, it's okay. I'm well now. I've got you back. I'm going to be all right. Do you know what I mean? And Matilda's come in and said, no. What if it happens again? And I've said, listen, Matilda, if it happens again, we'll deal with it together. But we can't hide from the world anymore. We have to go out. We have to be brave and strong and look after each other and love each other. And when we go out and we're scared, it doesn't matter. Because in order to be brave, you've got to be a bit scared. And the more I nurture and tell Matilda it's okay, the more she'll quieten down. And she'll realise that it's not that battle that little Janine was in when she was a little girl. It's not that battle that big Janine was in, 2 years ago. This is the way forward. This is the time now to shine. And yeah, people are going to come at me. You've seen it if you've seen your videos. You've seen it. They've come at me, and they brought me right back to when I was little or times in my adulthood when I felt so scared. But I faced it head on, didn't I? I came on camera and I faced it head on and I talked about it. And that's me, big Janine. So that's what Matilda is. Matilda was my protector. But then because big Janine wasn't brave enough to actually face the world head on, because little Janine was trapped in there, then Matilda had the upper hand, didn't she? Do you know what I mean? And she ruled the roost and just basically kept me in 24/7, scared of everything, terrified. But by loving little Janine and nurturing her, and then dealing with Matilda and loving her and nurturing her and knowing that she is my protector sometimes, and sometimes I'm going to listen to her, but sometimes I'm going to say no, Matilda. And sometimes I'm just going to let her thoughts run right through my head. I'm not even going to entertain them. But it's only in that first step in therapy, that first step that I took, that I was brave enough as big Janine to let someone strip me down right back to the beginning, and then learn to love little Janine and tell her it was going to be okay. Was I able to deal with Matilda, the one that manifested in order to protect me, but ended up in the end the one that was making me unhappy. So I hope I've explained it well. I hope if it resonates with you, that if you're thinking about stuff like that, take that time and invest in yourself. I'm 54. Do you know what I mean? And do I think I wish I'd have done this sooner? Of course I do. Of course I do. But the time wasn't right then. The time wasn't right. And there's no time for regrets, because that's when Matilda will get the upper hand again, won't she? I just think I am 54. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be brave. And I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to think, why is that person laughing? Are they laughing at me? Because I don't care if they are. I really don't care. Because this is my life. And this day to day, I am going to live it, and live it happy, and live it to the best of my ability. And that's why I come on here all the time, being brave, being bold, being strong with my exposure therapy. That's why, I've bought a hat to wear, because I am being brave and strong and bold. And I hope that if any of this rings a bell with you, then, you just do something for yourself, please, please, please. And, even if it's not going for therapy, I've spoke about the untold app till I'm blue in the face. Just start making. I can't stress it enough. And there's that part of me now that thinks, should I be saying this? But it's like I've got to for my therapy, for my healing, for my journey, even if it's not for yours. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, and I always say, don't I? Be kind, love, take care, look after, and that's yourself. I mean yourself, do that. Always yourself first and foremost, and just embrace your life. I had something else to say then, I forgot it. But yeah, I would, Cece's coming up for 2 in June. So I got Cece just before I got her in the June, before I'd made that therapy. Did I get her in the June? No, I didn't. I'm telling lies. She was born in the June. She was born here in my home. And I didn't get her till the August. Now, so I must have had my therapy before. See, I always say dates, but this is part of me being open and transparent and not being scared. It must have been before, because I had Cece, because I used her as part of me, of one of me, my exercises for getting better, for facing the fear. So it must have been. I got her in the August, just by my birthday, when she was 8 weeks. Was she 8 weeks? Doesn't matter, does it, guys? But yeah, and yeah, just go out there, take risks, be bold, be brave, be strong, be yourself, be your own authentic self. Don't be anyone else. Don't conform and fit in. Don't be scared. Do you know what I mean? Take a bold step. So I'm going in the garden now to take a bold step. But yeah, to sit in my hat. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't care if anyone laughs at me. They won't anyway. Look at me. I'm great. And that's what I believe, and that's what I tell Matilda. So yeah, it was 3 people. There was little Janine, who was suffocated by Matilda, and Janine, the Janine I am now. And I brought her back out, and I loved her, and I brought her back to life. And she's the calm side of me, the zen side of me, that loves and doesn't be critical, and just, do you know what I mean? It's a happy and kind little girl, and that's who I am. And Matilda's still there in the background, looking after us and protecting us. But we don't need the awful side of her, because she's not very nice. And she was only like that because she was scared. So that's it, guys. That's it in a nutshell. I hope you understood it. If you did, then it was for you. And if you didn't, if it made you think, I hope it made you think. And it made you think about yourself if you need to. But yeah, Matilda was my inner critic, who got out of hand and took over the whole of my life for so many years, because she was scared of her own shadow, really. But she just became a shouty, cryy person. She wasn't aggressive, but she was a cryy. Anything went wrong, it was cry, cry, cry. I couldn't cope with, a broken nail. And, I just look back now and wonder how I got through work and did what I did. But that's because I was strong, but I was too manifested by Matilda. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's all I've got to say. So yeah, Matilda, she's still going to be there, but she's getting calm and comfort now and love and nurture. So, and hopefully, you know, she might just morph into just being little Janine, and then maybe one day I'll just be Janine. Okay, take care, look after yourselves, bye bye.